Farmelo, an accredited master farrier. I've been shoeing horses for 52 years. I worked for 8 years as head farrier for one of Australia's leading racing stables. I've now been teaching hoof care in Australia and overseas for nearly 10 years. Welcome to my workshop. I was taught by an old chap who was 84 when I was 14, and this was in 1954. This means he was born around 1870. These old chaps rarely wrote down their methods and guarded them jealously. He told me what to do, but never explained why, and I kept my head down for 40 years and continued in exactly the same way as I'd been taught. When I was in my mid-50s, I lifted my head up and looked around, and I realised that the standards of farriery were falling rapidly, and that the simple basic principles of hoof care were being lost to the young farriers of today. That was 10 years ago, and I've been teaching these simple basic principles of hoof care ever since. Farriery is not rocket science, and by sticking with the basic principles, this DVD will show you how you can make trimming and shoeing relatively simple, regardless of whether you are a rider, an owner, a trainer, or a farrier or a veterinarian. If you have a horse, you have a duty of care to understand how the hoofs affect the well-being and the performance of the horse. I don't use technical terms, and my method of balancing the hoof is based on external landmarks on the hoof, which can be used while you're under the horse. You will see that many segments of this DVD are repeated in different formats to reinforce the simple basic principles which must be adhered to if you are to achieve a correctly balanced foot. The ABC stands for assessment, plus balance, plus correction, and it equals performance. The most important thing you can do for your horse is to achieve a correctly balanced hoof. Do you realise that most gait problems and back strain problems stem from incorrect trimming and incorrect shoeing that should have been corrected simply by balancing the hoof? Do you realise that at least 90% of lameness in horses is hoof related, and that most hoof problems are as a result of not correctly balancing the hoof? Flares, long toes and low heels, short toes and high heels, contracted heels, seedy toe, hoof wall separation and cracks, underrun heels, forging, overreaching, dishing and navicular syndrome. This may sound like a radical statement, but all these are caused by incorrectly balancing the hoof. You are the expert when it comes to recognising the difference in the way the horse is working or travelling or the way it feels. The farrier only visits once every 6 weeks or so, making it difficult for them to assess these minor changes that you observe daily. It is your right to query these changes in the horse's behaviour or in its working, and to provide some input to help the farrier. If the horse owners are questioning the farriers, expressing concerns about hoof problems, or commenting on gait problems, then they are doing this for a good reason. They are concerned at the well-being or performance of the horse, and I believe they have every right to express their concern.